Hi, I'm Gary White,
And I'm Yvonne McNary.
and this is Channel 6 Central Kentucky Talks. And today we're going to be talking with a gentleman who does dream analysis
Uh-huh.
and has also written a book called The Dreams Behind the Music to kind of talk about how some dreams have brought about some music that we might be familiar with.
Wow.
So that'd be pretty interesting. And on the phone we have Craig Webb. Hi, Craig.
Hi, Gary. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. So tell us a little about your book, The Dreams Behind the Music.
Well, it originated from, I guess, many years of more and more starting to dream music myself, and lots of years of actually teaching about dreams, exploring dreams, researching dreams, and also being a musician, a performing artist, a songwriter, and I guess the book ends up bridging these two worlds, which seem intuitively to go pretty well together. You know, we have the word the muse, and then we have music. And the dreaming muse ends up being an inspiration for a lot of the music that we know. A lot of top artists actually dream their songs, dream lyrics, or sometimes actually get career guidance, even life and death kind of level dreams. So it's interesting to see the, almost I call the hidden dreams that are behind the music and all the stars that we know.
So, what are some of the famous songs we may be familiar with that have been dreamt before they were actually sung?
Yeah. Imagine some of your favorite artists waking up just alone in their bedroom with this little dream or maybe a melody. Example, this one came to one gent, scrambled eggs. Oh, my baby, how I love your legs. Have you ever heard that one?
Oh, baby, how I love you. Who sang that one?
Scrambled eggs, oh, baby, how I love your legs. Well, that's the melody and the lyric that the gent woke up with, and he said, wow, catchy melody, and he got up out of bed and played it on the piano and found the chord structure, and he thought he'd sort of stolen it from somebody, so he asked friends and his manager, has anybody heard this? And they said, oh, it's pretty catchy, you'll have to change the lyrics, but I don't think I've heard it, maybe you should develop it. And so about a month later, when he finally decided and owned it and took it as his, then he started working on it a bit, and then later dreamt the title, which we all know, and he changed the lyrics. Yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away.
There you go.
So Sir McCartney woke up with that one from a dream, believe it or not.
Oh, wow. Well, that's a famous one.
Certainly is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now,
pretty
have you been
well-known
able
one.
to
And then
isolate that there's
the
anything?
Beatles had their biggest hit also.
Have you been able to isolate anything that maybe somebody we could eat before we go to bed at night, or drink, or participate in, and to enhance our dreams so that we will be more creative?
Yeah, definitely. Well, dreams by nature are creative, so I think we don't have to worry about them having all kinds of insights or giving us new thoughts or giving us inspiration for our work, our art. Maybe just open the channel a little bit more, what I call connecting to the inner net. It's kind of like the internet, except it's at night.
Huh.
So we connect to the internet with dream recall, and to boost our dream recall for people to remember their dreams a little better, they can ideally just wake up in bed and not move, if you remember, or if you moved, maybe just roll back to the same position you woke up in. Ideally, keep your eyes closed. If you forget, then just close them once you wake up. And then just gently reel in any thoughts, feelings, sensations, images, like you might reel in a little fish once you get a nibble on a fishing line. And then usually just by sitting up and writing it down, or if you get music, recording it into a tape recorder or a voice recorder of some kind, then you can actually see that a lot of the dream comes the moment we start recording it. So that's a little tip for people. And then if they want to actually have specific creative dreams, or let's say dreams about music, or dreams about even like their relationship or work, so it applies to anything in their life, they can just have an intention before sleep. You know, just like when we say, hey, I'm going to sleep on it when we have a problem, you can have an intention. I'd really like to dream on this topic, on this song, on this music, on this problem at work, on this relationship, and then dreams will respond just like a good friend.
Wow. So, how did you first get involved in dream analysis?
Well, I had an interesting story, Gary. Thanks for asking. I kind of say I got kidnapped because at the time I was a good little physicist and I have a degree in physics, so I was studying science and very objective, provable kind of things. That's what I liked. And then I had a powerful near drowning. I actually got stuck under a raft, whitewater rafting. I got under the raft without much breath, kind of a sudden immersion. And then I guess after 5-10 seconds of fight and flight and gasp for air, trying to get air, I had this very strange quietness come over me, and a simple thought, just, wow, I guess I'm dying right now. And, you know, under the water there, I couldn't really see anything just swirling around, but I just felt this immense sense of peace. And, you know, I think the guide pulled me out. I don't exactly remember after that moment what happened. But I did raft the rest of the day, except that right after that I started remembering up to about 10 dreams a day. You know how dreams disappear by usually a shower or maybe breakfast?
Huh. Very interesting.
I've had some interesting dreams too, but most of the ones, like I was telling Gary earlier today, most of the dreams that I have are dreams of being chased or, you know, monsters and all that kind of thing, you know. Never really taken it to heart that they could be very creative in helping me do other things.
Now, I find that most...
Well, go ahead, Gary. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to mention to Yvonne, and probably about 80% of the listeners, Yvonne, that the chase dream is very common worldwide, as a recurring dream, too, not just a one-time thing. So, like James Cameron, who turned one of his nightmares into the movie Terminator, he used it creatively. You might be able to use it as creative inspiration in maybe a book, a story, a poem, a dance, or to heal a relationship. But most important would be to start thinking about, hey, what's the source, and then find a new ending. I'll give you a story that will demonstrate kind of what it is, but just the principle first is any recurring dream is kind of like a class in school that, you know, we haven't fully passed yet. We haven't fully gotten all the lessons. And so it comes back until we kind of get the message. In this case, the chase dream, probably there's some part of ourselves that we're not listening to or that we've kind of repressed or held back a little bit. It might have been painful or it might have not fit into our life very well. Let's say maybe our assertiveness or different aspects like that. And then it kind of chases us. In dream, it looks like a character or a scary figure or a monster. But it comes after us to eventually, hopefully, get back integrated back somehow into our life. And there's a story of Mimi, that's a dreamer I worked with, and she had this recurring chase dream. And I taught her one technique called lucid dreaming. Have you heard of that?
Lucid dreaming. No.
No. Is that where you're not really fully asleep? Lucid dreaming? Like daydreaming?
There's variations, but as the scientific phrase is kind of used most often, it means being kind of consciously aware, having a waking mind, and sometimes your memory with you, but during a dream while you're actually fully asleep. So that's kind of lucid dreaming. In other words, you have a little bit more choice, or you can guide the dream a bit. So she learned this technique pretty quickly, within about a week, and she said, wow, I have this chase dream a couple times a week. You know, it's very often. I'd like to resolve it. And so she learned that technique. There's other ways, but she learned lucid dreaming. And she said, it happened. She reported 2 weeks later to me excitedly. I said, what happened? She said, well, I had my chase dream again. There was a man chasing me in a car. It used to be just on foot, but this time it was in a car. I saw him in the rearview mirror, and I got freaked out, and I hopped out of the car and started running on foot again. And just that same scenario reminded me of what you said, hey, you can change the ending during the dream. And so I whirled around and I said, hey, this is my dream and you can't hurt me. And the strange thing, she said, Craig, is that he had a very loving face and sweet eyes. And he said, hurt you? What do you mean hurt you? I've been running after you all these years just to tell you, well, really, I love you. But you've been running, so I've been chasing you. And she said a few things are interesting. She woke up very energized instead of kind of depressed or freaked out. She said she had a wonderful day at the office instead of kind of a tired, empty day. And then I guess I checked about a year or two later, and I found this with most people who were able to shift their recurring dreams. She said she never had that scenario again in any dream. So it seems like she learned the lesson.
So I find for myself, and I've known other people say that sometimes they wake up and they know they had a dream, and they have elements of it, but throughout the day or shortly afterwards, they can't remember any of it. Is that common?
That's pretty common. It's a little different compartments or maybe sort of a different brain frequency than our normal memory. So for our waking selves, we're going to pull in those memories. We have to make a little bit more, I'd say, focus. It's not a hard thing. It just requires a bit of attention. So ideally, you kind of think of a computer analogy. You can copy it just from the flash RAM, the memory that's only on when the computer's on, onto, let's say, the waking memory, which is kind of like the hard drive. So if we intentionally write it down into a book or tell somebody in the morning or put it on a voice recorder and kind of copy it over from dream memory into normal waking memory, then it's usually much easier to record, or at very least we could actually go look at it. So most of the artists in the book here actually try to catch their dreams, their music, like Beyonce, Billy Joel, who said he dreams all his music, Sting, Every Breath You Take came from a dream. They try to catch it during the night, even sometimes waking up and starting to work on it during the night while it's still really fresh and clear. So a little tip there for those creatives, try to catch it early before it fades.
Very interesting.
Yes, it is. Have you had any writers, people who write books, have any like really great dreams? I mean, I know you've heard of people who make movies behind it, but what about a book, an entire book or anything like that from dreams?
Yeah, great question too, because it does apply really to any realm. You know, there's businessmen, for example, who dream important ideas, like Larry Page, who dreamt the key inspiration that became the company we all know as Google. The original seed came in the dream to the CEO. But writers who've done it, I actually had the good fortune to interview a writer who I've appreciated for many years, Richard Bach. I don't know if you remember the book Jonathan Siegel and Illusions and a number of others. And he said he had a powerful, well, almost like a waking dream, maybe like a vision, but of his hearing. And he said a voice spoke to him, and he was just walking outside and said, "Jonathan Livingston Siegel," very clear and very loud. So he kind of walked home and started writing down a little bit, and then he said all of a sudden the wall opened up in his room and turned into a movie screen, and he saw the whole scenes from the first two parts of the book. And he couldn't even write fast enough to kind of copy down what he saw. So it became like, let's say, altered stage, or maybe a semi-waking vision. And then later, it took about 7 years of incubating and, I guess, some life challenges. But he actually had to, he moved, and then he said he actually had another dream of the little seagull that he saw in his earlier vision, 7 years before, so he was a pretty dedicated writer. And then it was very clear how to finish the book, and he did, and became, I think now, over 40 million copy bestseller of fiction, which is pretty rare, right?
Yeah. So it just goes to show there may be a bestseller in all of us.
That's right. And when you go to sleep at night,
It may well be. Well, the whole Twilight series too. The vampire, the friendly vampires from Twilight, that came to Stephanie Meyer in a dream. It was first a book too, so could be to anybody. She was just a regular, I guess, housewife and just doing her family and everything, and all of a sudden became a well-known author.
So when they say dreams do come true for some of these creative individuals, that's really happened.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. And for any listener who's inspired, sometimes when the dream's very clear, like extra vivid, or holds a very strong emotional impact, or if there's no super clear or very strong emotional ones, even just that last dream of the morning, those can be the ones that are pretty important to act on, to somehow bring into our lives. And I guess if we're an artist, or if we want to be a writer, or a musician, or a filmmaker, or something like that, or a dancer even, or an athlete, the whole German Olympic ski team uses dreams for practicing their aerial maneuvers. So we can actually act on the dreams that are clear, vivid, or have a strong emotional impact, or just that last dream in the morning just before we get up.
Great. Well, Craig, thank you for talking with us. We appreciate it. It's been a very interesting conversation. And I know you have a couple websites that you wanted to mention as well.
Oh, yeah. If people want to check out the book, which also highlights a lot of these techniques and talks about how to resolve nightmares and remember dreams, and tells the story of these 200 music artists, that website is dreamsbehindthemusic.com. And if they'd be interested to follow trainings or learn more about dreams, they can check out Applied Dreaming, with 2 D's in the middle, applieddreaming.com. And learn more about me there and my work, and learn about their dreams and get empowered and inspired for hopefully a much richer life. That's what I hope for all the listeners and for both of you.
Great. Well, thank you very much. Again, we were talking with Craig Webb, And it's Dreams Behind the Music is the name of the book. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Craig.